Today, I have the Dig Agency free lead telesales agent Cody Neff here to tell you more about his experience as a top producer at the Dig Agency. Last month in February, he wrote $27,892 in premium off of 24 applications. And we're just going to do a quick overview of what his experience has been like, how he got into the business, and hopefully give you guys out there who are considering final expense, whether with us or another company, what it's really like to be successful. So Cody, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, David. Thanks for having me.
So what got you into this world of final expense?
Well, I actually come from a really different background. So I have my bachelor's degree in chemistry. And prior
Wow.
to this, I was actually working in a lab doing research on Alzheimer's disease.
Really? Okay,
And
cool.
yeah, so I'd been working there for a couple years, while I was finishing up school and everything. Really liked the job. It was great. Liked the people that I worked with. The stuff was interesting, but it really was just paying the bare minimum. The benefits weren't even that great, so I was weighing my options. My contract was coming to a close. I decided I wanted to get involved in sales. So my first step was, looking at different technical sales kinds of jobs, things related to my background and my degree. When I was looking around for jobs, I was having a really, really hard time, doing interviews, a lot of competition out there, and my time was coming up with my contract. I had to do something. And I ended up getting a response from an Aflac posting. So,
Okay.
just not really knowing too much about the industry or the business, I was like, let's try it out. I need some sales experience, obviously, if I want to get into this side of things.
Right.
Let me just do it. I'll take the risk, whatever. So I went ahead and got my license in health and life and just started working with them. It was okay. The money was slim to none. The training was slim to none. I don't want to bash them or anything. I mean, those guys that
Sure.
I worked with, they were good guys. I still keep in touch with them. They're my
Sure.
friends.
Right.
But in terms of what I was expecting, it was lacking by far.
Mm.
So after just a couple months there and winning just like a pair of AirPods and a few $100, I decided to look around a little bit more and, started my search again, looking for more jobs. Ended up deciding that I wanted to try to use my license because I had just gotten my license in life and health. I spent all that money. It was a lot of time and effort getting
Right.
involved into it, so I was like, why not? Let me see what I can do. I was looking around online, ended up just getting a credit card, buying a batch of leads, bought like 50 leads,
Hmm.
completely struck out.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was fun though. I mean, it was a good learning experience and it got me more comfortable on the phone. I kind of, was trying out different things. But soon I realized I needed a little bit more structure. I needed some more guidance and direction. And that's when I actually ended up stumbling upon some of your videos
Okay.
and started learning about niching down more,
Yeah.
finding a niche to settle into. Because when I was buying those leads, David, I bought 50 leads, all different ages, demographics. There
Sure.
was no way to pin down exactly what these people were looking for.
Right.
So, I was just shooting shots in the dark, throwing
Yeah.
stuff at the wall, seeing what stuck, no rhyme or reason to anything. But seeing something a little bit more structured, I was like, yeah, let me give this a try.
Right. So what's it been like going from what you do with Aflac versus selling over the phone? Because some people are probably looking at Aflac because it's a brand name, everybody knows who it is, compared to final expense, like burial insurance. Like who wants to sell that? Well, could you kind of compare and contrast the differences of those?
Yeah, it's really different. So, Aflac is more supplemental health. So they do sell life insurance and, their product's fine and everything.
So you're going
Um,
more to B2B with that?
Yeah,
Business to
much more
business? Okay.
business to business. Exactly. Yeah. So we're not dealing direct to consumer like we are with final expense. You're just pitching to a business owner or you're pitching to, someone that is on HR management of some sort, and trying to convince them to add on additional benefits. A lot of these companies already have benefits, and the bottom line was that we were just cold calling. They didn't give us any leads. There was no sort of,
Yeah.
assistance in trying to prospect besides just like, hey, go find some businesses, write them down on a list, and we'll
Yeah.
call them from, 9 to 5 tomorrow.
So a lot of cold calling, cold approaches,
Lots of cold
walking in.
calling, cold
Would
approaches.
you
Exactly.
find that other Aflac people that approach these businesses, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was the same kind of thing. I mean, they would get a few leads in a month and they kind of would keep them up with the higher management people.
Okay.
It was much more like, a training type environment to get people into a situation where you would want to bring more people on, and then you just end
Uh,
up getting a cut of their income. It kind of just works that way basically. Where I mean, like I said, I made slim to nothing. I was working there for a couple months, and that's kind of was the story for everyone else.
yeah,
It's kind of like a revolving door type
sure.
situation. People coming in, making a couple sales, and then finding out they couldn't really make any money, and then leaving. But and then the management, they get a chunk of it, so that's kind of why they stick around, I think.
Right. So how does that compare to, you're selling final expense, you're selling it over the phone.
Mhm.
What's different about that for the audience's sake to understand?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, with this, obviously, it's direct to consumer, so we are pitching to people that are going to be buying this product directly from us. There's no sort of business involved. There's no people, concerned about their employees. So the sale is a lot different. The pain points we're looking for, the things that we're pressing on are different, but then just the ultimate sales environment. So, I was doing more going out canvassing, prospecting in person. Um, and then with this, it's all over the phone. So I'm just in the comfort of my home, just doing stuff from my house and, talking directly to people. This sale is very different in terms of like, hey, you need this because you're going to pass away. Your loved ones are going to need to pay for this somehow. You got to get this. There's not really an option, with
Right.
the with the business to business stuff. I found a lot of it was, okay, you got to win because you got them to pick up the phone. You got to win because you set an appointment for them to call you back. You got to win because you get to go in and talk to them. And it was just this step by step trudging through the process. And then hopefully you get a sale. Usually they just tell you, to go kick rocks. So, this is much nicer. You just get the whole thing done in one call. I mean, that's a big thing that we work on in the free leads telesales program is one call, one close. It
Right.
is very reasonable to be able to close people in one call. That's what you want to be able to do. And you do this long enough and you realize that it's not a win when you get someone telling they're going to call you back.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it is amazing that we can just get on the call with someone and in 30 to 45 minutes, you've made the sale. I mean, that's it. Simple as that.
Yeah, and it's faster. That means you get paid
Mhm.
faster for those of you out there who are newer to insurance, like a longer sales cycle where there's multiple steps. They can be bigger cases, but many of them don't go through, and many of them take months sometimes before they manifest and
Exactly.
make the sale.
Yeah. If not longer.
Yeah, that's being
Oh,
nice
yeah.
and generous.
Hmm.
What's it like working from home? The big trend, I'll tell you this, Cody, probably about 80% of our applicants want to do telesales. I mean, it's crazy because 5 years ago, it was 100% face to face. So telesales has taken the storm of the business, partially because of the COVID lockdowns and they've been working from home. They want to continue to work from home. Could you describe what it's like to do this business successfully at home and what the benefits and the drawbacks are too?
Yeah, so I mean, aside from when I was looking for another job, what I was previously discussing, I was also looking for a work from home job. I found that very appealing. I've got two dogs. They're like me and my wife's kids. They're getting older. I want to spend as much time around them as I can. Same with my wife. She works from home. So it's
Okay.
nice to have that dynamic. We love spending our time around each other, but it is also challenging because you have to set your own schedule. You have to be disciplined. You have to know what you're getting yourself into, and you can't just treat it like you're hanging out at home, making calls from time to time. Like this job is very much so an efficiency game. You have to be on when you're on. You have to be doing the job when you're doing the job. You can't just be like messing around, playing around, doing whatever at home. So like I have a dedicated workspace, and I would obviously suggest that anyone that's going to work from home do that. Have a space that you go in, you work from hour to hour, whatever you set your schedule for that day, you do it, and that's what you're doing. I mean, anything else, it's very easy to get distracted working from home. But, with anything, it has its pros and cons. I mean, I wouldn't give it up for anything. I love working from home. It's amazing. It gives me everything that I need. But I do have to kick myself into gear, and I have to get myself that little extra push that, maybe going into work somewhere, you have people working with you. Your work environment kind of pushes you along. But honestly, that is one thing I've really enjoyed about the program that I'm in is that we have a Slack channel.
Yeah.
We're always communicating. And the Slack channel has just been within the last couple months. So prior to that, we were just doing daily meetings, and it was really nice to check in. But now it's like we have each other pushing each other all
Yeah.
day constantly, and it's a lot of fun. It really feels good, like posting up a win and everything. So having that is a nice balance and a nice medium. So you feel like you're around people. You have your coworkers. Like I feel like they're my friends. So it's great having that in a
It is if
working
you're
for
not
me.
careful and you're with the wrong organization, you'll feel very isolated and lone wolf selling from home, and
Definitely.
walls are coming in on you. You don't talk to anybody anymore. But yeah, I
Hmm.
think what Tim's done a really good job with the initiation or the initialization of the Slack room. Everybody like the free lead chat Slack room is just hot. It's constantly flowing. People are talking, and it's not just business. People are having fun,
Yeah.
building relationships and camaraderie, and that's important in this business, man. Because as you know, you get beat up, and these clients will say all sorts of mean things to you, and
Oh my gosh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and
Some
so
days, I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it can get down. So it's fun to post up, oh, I just had this guy yelling at me or whatever, just kind
yeah.
of joking around about it. It makes it light. Again, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's fun to be
Did
able
you
to joke about it.
did you see that recording Josh put up? He put up about somebody said I'm going to kill you. Like the lady literally said, I'm going to kill you. And Josh was
Oh,
like,
that
oh,
was
no,
mine.
that was yours. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I laughed at that. She was cool with you after that, right?
Yeah, she was cool. Well, the funny thing about her, and a lot of people that are requesting this information, they do get a lot of calls. And
Right.
you'll be on the phone with someone and you'll hear in the background the Medicare supplement commercials on TV,
Right.
while they're
Yeah.
on the phone with you and you're trying to sell them final expense life insurance. So, they are inundated with it to an extent. And this person that is actually one of my clients, I called her one time and, she was like, "You called me 3 times. If this isn't important, I'm gonna hunt you down and I'm gonna kill you." And I was
Yeah.
like,
She sounded serious, too. She
yeah. And I
wasn't
just
joking around.
yeah, once she realized who I was, though, she was like, "I'm so sorry." And
Yeah.
that's
She
the
immediately
thing
said
too.
sorry. It was funny.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going to figure out how to insert that in here so people can listen to it. I was going to turn it into a short and laugh
yeah.
about it a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I hope
pretty
that
funny.
works. But yeah, it's good too because we develop these relationships with our clients where I'm just like, "Hey, it's Cody." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
So it's like all of my clients that we end up kind of becoming friends. I call them, they know who I am. I'm their insurance guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, even being over the phone, telesales, you still get that little bit of personability with the
Sure.
people that you talk to, which is great.
Sure, absolutely. So for the new guys out there, Cody, what pieces of advice would you give them in getting started? You've done very, very well. Thank you so much for your hard work in business, by the way. We appreciate you a bunch. What advice would you give the new people in getting started on the right foot in this business and seeing success faster?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, David. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this without you and Tim, and the whole entire team has just been fantastic. And the experience that I've had going into this program after being both at Aflac and also just trying on my own to do insurance telesales, it's night and day. Yeah, I would not be able to do it without you guys. And the
Great.
program is absolutely fantastic. But with the new agents, and something that stuck with me a lot when I first started with you guys was just be coachable. I remember going into everything when you first start. I mean, I don't know if things have changed a little bit, but I had to record myself doing the script 30 times and
Yeah.
not coming from any sort of background doing any much of a script at all. It feels kind of weird,
Yeah.
but it just in my head, I'm like, be coachable, just do it, go with the flow, go along with what they're teaching. And it works. I mean, I have done my best to just do everything that's been laid out in front of me. And as you get into it, I mean, like you develop your own strengths and nuances that you should lean on, but just following the script, being coachable, not putting up arms and being like, oh, oh, this is why this happened. It was the lead, the leads are bad or whatever, just kind of just like rolling with the punches for the first couple months and just really getting into it, doing what everyone says to do. That was the biggest thing for me because
Yeah.
it's really easy to think that you know what a better thing to do is. And that really leads into my next thing of not letting the bad people coach you or teach you. Because that was what I was having a trouble with when I was doing things on my own. Every call I would get off of it, I would say, how could I have sold that person? And we're
Yeah.
not trying to
Right.
sell every single person. You get a batch of leads, 5 to 10% of those people are going to be buyers. You're going to have to talk to 90 people out of 100 leads that are going to tell you to screw off,
Yeah.
that they don't want to talk to you, or even worse, they're going to get really, really close to buying and you're going to feel like you did something wrong. But a lot of times, if you are just following the method, it wasn't you. It is, there's a certain percentage of people that are going to buy. You don't want to let those people that aren't going to buy teach you to do something that is going to prevent you from making any sales to the good people,
It's
basically.
funny. It's funny you bring that up because there's the ones that, it's like you feel good about, no, maybe not feel good about losing, but it's like, okay, I understood. want it, you know, they already had coverage and everything is fine. And then there's this degree of people that you feel like you almost got them, but you never really did have them. But then
Hmm.
if you let that be the thing that teaches you, like if you start acclimating your script towards the people that you think should have bought, but realistically never would, you start selling to the wrong people versus the buyers, the people who actually have an interest. And it's an interesting perspective, you know, and the key is to do the script as is and put the time in and trust the process because the outputs, they're going to be there. There's always people who need insurance. You just have to put the work into uncovering them and finding them.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, that's a huge thing. You want to be able to sell everybody, obviously. And, you know, as you get better at it too, you start to feel like you should be able to. You're like, why am I not
Right.
getting to this person? But it's not always like that. And you have to understand that, you know. So, I mean, those are the two biggest things for me are be coachable, don't let the bad people train you, and then just don't get discouraged and be persistent. I
Yeah.
mean, there, as you keep going, you're gonna make a sale.
Yeah.
It's just working hard at some point. You know, once you have everything down, you have the objection handlers down, you have the script down, you know how to respond to things. At some point, the people that are going to buy, and the people that aren't. And if you keep on running the dialer, you keep on texting people, you keep on setting appointments, there's going to be people. I mean, I remember working days, especially in the beginning, I wouldn't make any sales during the day, you know, fresh, new, just still trying to get things down. I would be burning the midnight oil, you know, pushing into my 11th or 12th hour, but I knew that the sale was on the other end and I would get the sale every time.
Right.
And it's just about working hard and being persistent and like just, you know, we always say 86 the 86, you know, 86 those
Yeah.
other 80 to 90% of people that aren't going to buy and just keep on moving because that person that's going to buy is there. They're
Right.
definitely there. And we've seen that time and time again.
Well, Cody, thank you so much for being on. I have to get off for a webinar. So, guys, if you out there watching this, you like the sound of this, of our business and how it works, if you haven't already, go to davidduford.com. There's a video that will autoplay once you get there. Watch that entirely. That'll give you a great rundown on how commissions, leads, our training system works, and more. And then if you like what you hear on that video, you can join a Q&A call to ask us questions. And we do about 3 or 4 of those a week. They're live in group format. And then the last step is to apply if everything looks good for you. And then we do a real interview process where don't take everybody. We try to find the best fit for our culture and for what we know is a good fit for how we work. So definitely encourage you guys to go to davidduford.com if you like what you hear and you're considering joining. Cody, thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David.